Altos is brought to you with the kind compliments of Rituals Coffee House.
Good evening and welcome to Altos, a weekly news and current affairs program produced by the Catholic News and broadcast on Trinity TV and TGT. I'm your host, Neil Parsonal. Here's a look at this week's top stories. His Grace Archbishop Charles Jason Gordon begins his annual prison visits with a call to prisoners to be pilgrims of hope. Students at the Valencia RC School have a special Christmas tree. They decorate with messages of hope that were written by them. Soca and symphony come together as a National Philharmonic Orchestra reshapes local music. US-Venezuela tensions continue to rise as the United States seizes an oil tanker, Guyana and Iran react. And later we speak with Rosemary Scott, the newly appointed Director of the Living Water Community, on the new poor that is emerging amongst those whom they serve. And now for our top story. Christmas is a season of joy for many, but for inmates in Trinidad's prisons, it can be a time of sorrow. As part of his annual tradition, Archbishop Charles Jason Gordon visited multiple correctional facilities this week, delivering a message of hope to those behind bars. Altos reporter Keelan Jordan brings us the story.
At the Port of Spain prison on Tuesday, Archbishop Charles Jason Gordon spoke to inmates about the meaning of the season and the reality of spending Christmas behind bars.
This time of year we celebrate Christmas, and it's a time of great joy and hope, but when you're in here, it could be dread.
Inmates agreed, calling out in response.
It is pain and sorrow.
In response, His Grace urged them to consider the mindset they choose to carry while serving their time.
Of people who walk in darkness has seen a great light. Seen a great light. But you can either be a pilgrim of despair or a pilgrim of hope. And the difference between the two is not being inside or being outside, because the difference between the two is in your heart.
The Archbishop's annual prison visits began Tuesday at the Port of Spain prison and continued on Wednesday at Golden Grove Prison, Remand Yard, and the Women's Prison. On Thursday, the Archbishop headed to the Eastern Correctional Rehabilitation Center, the Youth Training and Rehabilitation Center, and the Maximum Security Prison. The visits concluded today, Friday, at the Ferrer Convict Prison. I am Keelan Jordan reporting for Catholic News, Altos.
Morality in Trinidad and Tobago has drifted over the past 50 years, according to Archbishop Gordon. But the call to be holy and spotless is still important today. He made this pronouncement on the celebration of the Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception on Monday, December 8th at the Cathedral's feast day. Laura Pickford Gordon picks up the story for us.
As he lamented the drift in morality, Archbishop Charles Jason Gordon said at a time most needed in the nation, the cathedral stands as a sign and prophetic call to the nation.
That God is calling a people who will be both holy and spotless. And you and I, we are these people that have been redeemed by Christ, set aside by Christ, to be holy and spotless by His glorious grace and His grace alone.
This year, the Archdiocese of Port of Spain is celebrating its 175th anniversary and the 174 years of the dedication of the cathedral. His Grace said it was a moment for Catholics to ponder what is God's call.
We can't continue the drift that we have been drifting. We have to now call, understand, listen, and hear from inside of us the call of God to be holy and spotless, and ask God, every one of us, what does that mean? And what is He calling me to do?
His Grace spoke on the dogma of the Immaculate Conception, the the doctrine that Mary was conceived without original sin, saying it is one of the Marian doctrines people found difficult to understand. Even Christians from other faiths differed in how they view Mary.
That through God's grace from before time, Mary was prepared so that she could bring into the world Jesus Christ, our Lord, who will crush the head of the serpent.
A procession to the Marian Grotto followed the Mass, and a prayer of dedication to the Immaculate Conception was recited. A brief award ceremony took place thereafter, in which long-serving members of the Cathedral parish were recognized. This is Lara Pickford-Gordon for Catholic News, Altos.
In keeping with the Jubilee Year theme, Pilgrims of Hope, the Valencia RC Government Primary School is celebrating Christmas as a profoundly meaningful creative project. They've built a unique Christmas tree filled entirely with handmade messages of upliftment and hope written by the students themselves. A message intended to reach far beyond the festive season. Dale Sideno tells us more.
The Christmas season has taken on a deeper meaning at the Valencia RC Government Primary School with the unveiling of their Tree of Hope. Every ornament hanging from the branches was crafted by students from each class. Colorful, handmade pieces that carry personalized messages of hope, written not only for themselves, but for anyone who pauses to read them. Principal Anne Sambrano explains that each year the school chooses a theme to guide its activities. And with the church marking this Jubilee year, they chose the theme of hope, a value she believes students can carry into every aspect of their lives.
The Tree of Hope symbolizes for our students that God is present and is always there with them through their challenges, through their darkest moments. He is there with them, guiding them and giving light to their situations. Many of them came to the tree to read all the beautiful messages. The teachers as well were very on board with the Tree of Hope and enjoyed this whole school project.
Looking ahead, next year's theme will focus on faith, as the school continues its mission to nurture not just academic growth, but spiritual development as well. For now, the Tree of Hope stands proudly on the school's compound, its branches filled with the voices of children, gently reminding everyone that even the smallest message can inspire something greater.
Hope in God gives our students the courage to try, the strength to continue, and the confidence to believe in a brighter future.
Jubilee Year, the year of hope. Valencia RC Government Primary School students are pilgrims of hope.
I am Dale Sedino reporting for Catholic News, Altos.
And staying with our schools, what started as an idea to inspire the Christmas spirit in pupils of the Belmont Boys RC School turned into a bonding experience as it brought parents and the school community together. Lara Pickford-Gordon tells us how they did it.
Rock Your Christmas Door was the theme of the display, in which class doors were decorated in festive ways. Parents were notified of the idea, and Principal Stephen Goodings said it was surprising how enthusiastic they were.
Parents sent materials, children bought materials, parents came and helped, and we had a Christmas tea plate on that day, and we had a poll sent out to the PTA chat where the parents should choose the best door, and they did select two very lovely doors. And and that class is going to get a little Christmas pizza party at the last week of school.
The decorated doors were praised by visitors to the school, and Principal Goodings told Altos he is pleased with the increased family engagement.
More parents being involved in the school life of their children, and this I think is a very positive step. And I think it brought a good smile to those parents because they were chatting on the PTA. So it was one of the times we had the most active chatter going on the PTA chat.
This is Lara Pickford-Gordon for Catholic News, Altos.
Certainly wonderful to look at. Trinidad and Tobago witnessed something special recently when the National Philharmonic Orchestra teamed up with artist Michael Teja for a viral blend of soca and symphony on his latest offering, Last Train. But that moment rests on more than 10 years of musical innovation. We sat with conductor Dr. Roger Henry to explore how the orchestra has been reshaping how we hear local music.
Napa is more than an iconic stage. It's a space where UTT shapes musicians and redefines culture.
For Dr. Henry, it's about more than sound. It's about identity.
The music that we make here is in itself beautiful, and it can live and sing in any genre and in any location and any format.
Founded in 2013, the National Philharmonic Orchestra has for more than a decade been reimagining what local music can become, engaging calypso, folk, and now soca with a cinematic flair.
An orchestra is just a bunch of people with instruments. That's really what it is. And what are they going to play?
Their latest collaboration with soca artist Michael Teja has taken social media by storm, thanks in part to the orchestration by Wasia Ward and the emotional power of Pan.
The Pan is a perfect example of music that includes a lived experience, because how was the Pan created? It was created out of repression and rules that said, no, we don't want no drumming here. Yep. You could go in the pan yard and sit down. And, you will see from time to time the orchestra, the NPO, National Philharmonic Orchestra, will have open rehearsals, right?
Yeah.
So we do these open rehearsals because we're trying to learn from the culture of the pan yard.
This isn't a passing experiment. It's a movement. And Dr. Henry believes young musicians will lead the charge.
Trinidad and Tobago is ready. The people are ready for new stuff. The advice I would give to young musicians is to dream and go for it.
Classical with a Caribbean soul. Something new and exciting. Born right here at home. I am Andre Burton, reporting for Catholic News, Altos.
That sounds like a good time for us to take a break. We take the break now, and when we come back, we speak with Rosemary Scott, the newly appointed director of the Living Water community, on the new poor that is emerging amongst those whom they serve. Stay with us. Thanks very much for staying with us. We are privileged today to have the newly appointed Director of the Living Water community, Rosemary Scott, with us today to talk a little bit more about what is happening at Living Water, and particularly with the ministry to the poor, ministry to the impoverished in society. Welcome to the set for the first time, is it?
I think so, yes. Yes.
It's good to have you, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sure, big shoes to
Absolutely, indeed. It's going to take a little while.
and one of the things that you have to jump in almost immediately is the influx of people, the impoverished, the poor,
yes,
who see Living Waters as their sign of hope. What is happening with respect to that?
Well, I think, if you want to backtrack a little bit, since COVID, like we've shared before, it's kind of like a new poor that's out there.
Okay.
And these are people that are not necessarily people who don't work, but making those ends meet is just getting further and further apart,
right.
And a lot of that is who we are seeing. So really, a lot of our ministry before was kind of people who really had no work, no jobs, and grandmothers really helping young children at home and that sort of thing. But now we have to rethink, reorganize, restructure, do a different type of interview with people coming in, because we do try to do a basic interview at least to kind of get a sense of where people are at. And yes, we are seeing the needs going up, and a lot of the support going down and down.
Right.
And that's nobody's fault. It's just where the economy is, even from overseas.
Yes.
Just to give an example, there's a funding agency that has helped us over the years with containers of food stuff, like rice. We would get an average of 12 containers of rice throughout the year. This last year, we got one.
Wow.
but the poor is still there to be fed. So we have to find all sorts of different means to get that funding, to at least still provide the rice, the basic things, the rice, the peas, the flour, the sugar.
The fundamentals for people just to make a living. But Rosemary, you're talking about, you said the new poor, and that's different in society now, because we talked about indigent people who are not working, people, the grandmothers, but now you're talking about persons who are actually working, but unable to make those ends meet. What has been, how much of an impact, how much of an increase has that section been on what you're seeing?
I would say considerably. We give out hampers twice a month, all right, and those are people that we've been helping over a period of time, and then we try to phase them out to give others a chance. A lot of those we haven't been able to phase out, but we still have to bring on others. But apart from that, we have a lot of communities throughout the country, and then just here, we used to give out an average about 25, what we call a smaller hamper, just to kind of get them through a day or two. 25 on a week. Now we're doing 30 to 40 a day. And again,
phenomenal increase.
It is a phenomenal increase. It is. And I'm not saying that we don't have the regular poor. I mean, that's not a nice way to put it. But yes, we still have those. But again, like I say, we have this new group that's coming in. Maybe some from the CPEP thing, yes. But I wouldn't say that's only. Everybody's saying, that's where your big numbers are coming. Not necessarily.
It's not necessarily that.
No. It's across the board. It's across the country. I mean, you're getting people from Couva and Grandy and all over the country. It isn't a Port of Spain issue. It's across the board.
So this is a national issue that you're dealing with.
Absolutely.
And Living Waters, apart from the Port of Spain center, so to speak, you said you have other areas that you...
Yes, we help numerous groups. I don't know the numbers offhand, but throughout the country. Where we help them very often is in bulk supplies, again, that was where we used to get the help from overseas. These bulk bags of rice and peas and things would come in. So even that has had to stretch, in a big way, but we still try, and again, people are extremely generous at Christmas, and we are very grateful for that. A lot of communities are doing their own hampers and sending for us because they know who we distribute to and how we can get it out there. So we are getting that help. But I would like to say beyond Christmas, people are hungry all year, and we really appreciate the Christmas bulk coming in. I mean, really thank you. Thank you to all of you who are generous benefactors for that. But to be mindful that the poor are with us all the time.
Indeed. How can people contribute? You do have persons, sending hampers, but if somebody is listening to the program, looking at the program that, today, how can they make a contribution to Living Water?
In so many ways. I mean, financially for sure, because that helps us to buy the bulk stuff. But people then bring in, I can give you a hamper, or I can give you flour or sugar, a particular item, and that's fine. But whatever we get is used, for sure, for sure. We have... Certainly, there's these standard bags that we try to be standard with, so it's even across the board. But the extras that come in, there are always families that reach out from a different part that are not on the regular food bank list, sort of list. So there's so many ways. Financially, individual items. Some people come and give their time. Can I come in once a week and help pack hampers? Because we pack around the year,
So there are different ways in which people can contribute. Time, talent, and treasure.
Absolutely.
Yes?
Absolutely.
Certainly Living Waters is living out the country's mission, the Archdiocese mission of being pilgrims of hope and offering hope to thousands, especially during this Christmas time. So Rose, we want to thank you very much for joining us. It's always been a pleasure, and the set of Altos is open to you. Come and talk to us anytime.
Thank you very much. I'll keep that in mind.
Thanks very much for staying with us. We'll be right back.
In this Sunday's issue of the Catholic News, Dollars and Cents columnist Finbar Garcia talks back pay, bonuses, and increments. He says these are not gifts from the three wise men, but you need to be wise with what you do with it. Clinical therapist Donika Bing of Serenitas Mental Health Services offers some advice for those feeling a sense of dread. Have you ever heard of the Discernment 180 program? Director of the Office of Vocations, Father Kenwin Sylvester, reports on its inaugural cycle held in November. And Archbishop Charles Jason Gordon says in his weekly column, we should dare to rejoice even in a Gova season. Here are the clergy anniversaries for the coming week. and some coming events. And remember to place an order with your parish for the Catholic News Jubilee Year Commemorative Magazine. Let's celebrate, remember, and rejoice. I am Raymond Sims, editor of the Catholic News.
Tensions are continuing to rise in the Caribbean after the United States seized a Venezuelan oil tanker on Wednesday, not long after it left port. Venezuela is calling the seizure a serious international crime and is vowing to defend its homeland. We have more in this report from Jared Hill of the Associated Press.
It's the moment an elite U.S. military unit rappelled from helicopters onto an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, guns drawn, executing a seizure warrant.
It was seized for a very good reason.
The Trump administration says the tanker was part of an illicit oil shipping network supporting terrorist organizations like Hezbollah, and that for years it was used to transport sanctioned oil between Venezuela and Iran. President Trump was asked about what'll happen to the oil on board.
Well, I assume we're going to keep the
Venezuelan government called the operation a shameless robbery and an act of international piracy. It's a dramatic escalation in the region where the U.S. has built up a major military presence and conducted at least 22 strikes on alleged drug boats. The White House says it's part of the president's push to combat drug trafficking. In an interview with Politico this week, President Trump issued a warning to Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro.
His days are numbered.
Can you rule out an American ground invasion?
I don't want to rule in or out. I don't talk about it.
Maduro has accused the Trump administration of pressing for regime change in order to control the country's oil reserves. On Wednesday, he criticized Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, who appeared in Oslo after winning the Nobel Peace Prize. She dedicated the award to the, quote, suffering people of Venezuela and President Trump.
Maria Corina Machado was not present at the Nobel Prize ceremony. Her daughter accepted the award on her behalf. Meantime, Guyana has said that the seized ship was falsely flying the nation's flag and is vowing to take action. And Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has spoken to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, expressing full solidarity with Venezuela, accusing the U.S. of using baseless claims to justify its military push in the Caribbean. And staying with that scenario, United States military jets have been flying near the coast of Venezuela, and President Donald Trump has warned he may extend his military campaign against drug traffickers. Since September, the U.S. military has blown up more than 20 suspected drug boats from Venezuela, killing close to 90 people. But what is this military campaign costing the U.S. taxpayer? CBS takes a look.
This afternoon, 2 F-18 fighter jets like these assigned to the USS Ford aircraft carrier circled near the coast of Venezuela as President Trump warned the country's leader, Nicolas Maduro, that the military campaign against the cartels could go beyond boat strikes.
You want to see him out?
His days are numbered.
Can you rule out an American ground invasion?
I don't want to rule in or out. I don't talk about it.
Questions over the legality of strikes on alleged drug boats and the second strike that killed 2 survivors topped the agenda as Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth briefed congressional leaders this afternoon.
Would he let every member of Congress see the unedited videos of the September 2nd strike? His answer, we have to study it.
While the Trump administration weighs further action, the costs of Operation Southern Spear are racking up. 11 warships deployed to the region have cost over $200 million. And those B-1 bombers that have flown out of the U.S. to buzz the Venezuelan coastline, $173,000 per flight hour. That's a lot of hardware for what so far has been a drug interdiction mission, says retired Marine Colonel and military analyst Mark Kansian.
You're using an asset that's designed for taking on China in the Western Pacific in the teeth of advanced weaponry and using it to take out boats with motors, with outdoor motors.
Speedboats.
It can do it, but it's overkill.
Political commentator, PNM stalwart Ferdy Ferrer died on Thursday following complications from a stroke. He was 93. Ferrer was an outspoken political figure and was known for his sharp political commentary and decades-long involvement in national affairs. Ferrer was a founding member of the People's National Movement and served the party in the roles as advisor, elections officer, and labor relations officer. Ferrer penned 2 books on the politics of the country, titled Political Encounters and Portraits of a Patriot. PNM political leader, opposition leader Penelope Beckel said his passing was a profound loss for the PNM, but even as the party mourns his passing, she said that they took solace in knowing that Ferrer lived a life in service, integrity, and devotion. In an Altos interview on the eve of the country's 61st anniversary of independence in 2023, Ferrer reflected on the state of Trinidad and Tobago.
Of course, it was a different era, it was a different, so I don't expect another Eric Williams or Rudranat Capeldio or people, I mean, the grandeur and the presentations. I attended Parliament, I've been attending Parliament in 1950 until about 10 or 15 years ago. I stopped attending because of the quality. Then we saw a level of patriotism that exemplified concern for your fellow men and the building. In other words, to put it in the proper perspective, as they say, politicians look for the next general election. Statesmen looked at the next generation.
And we certainly offer condolences from our end at Altos to the Ferrer family. Funeral arrangements have not yet been announced, but we could keep you posted. And that's a wrap for our program this week. We thank you very much for viewing. Remember to continue to pray for Trinidad and Tobago, to read your Bible and learn your faith, especially during this Advent season. On Friday, December 5th, the Valencia Roman Catholic Church was filled with theater, Christmas carols, parang and soca parang, as the Kumaka Roman Catholic School held its first Christmas concert titled Be the Light. The children had a great time, of course. Here's some of them singing for their parents and teachers. Have a good week, everyone. Stay safe.
Altos was brought to you with the kind compliments of Rituals Coffee House.